Liam, that game 2 years ago here against Tennessee was kind of shootout. Both teams were slinging it. Are you guys kind of feeling like running the football, slowing the game down might be a way to go here this week? How does that kind of approach go?
No, I think that we're ultimately trying to go score as many points as possible. However it happens, I mean, I think 2 years ago that game, we're a huddle operation. They're a no huddle. We run 99 plays. They run 40 whatever plays, and that's just sometimes how it works out. Sometimes how things play out, and when you're executing and moving the chains and operating well on third down, you can run a lot more plays. And so we'll see. It's not really a slow the game down type mentality. They do what they do, we do what we do, and we got to go execute at a high level.
And then there's been a lot of talk about that middle eight section, execution before halves. As a play caller, how do you balance that wanting to be aggressive, not being too aggressive? It seems like trying to put it in the middle might make it harder.
I know. It's not. You're trying not to succumb, right, to the half, but you're also trying to be smart. Like it is a funky kind of situation that probably doesn't get talked about, I guess, enough. And you're trying to, with your play calls, give the quarterback some thoughts. All right, here's a completion, but I don't want to be too aggressive, and it's a hard one. It is, because the quarterback can't read your mind, and it's not like 2 minute where you're like, hey man, I'm calling this because of this situation. Now, we've tried to be better at it over the bye in terms of repping it a little bit, talking about, hey, we call this is a little bit more our thought process. But when you execute and do everything right, a lot of the times it doesn't matter what the call is. I mean, the guys execute it, and it just has gotten magnified with the lack of execution in that situation. And then it puts our defense in a bad spot, which is, not what we're trying to do.
What has the offensive group done throughout the bye week?
I think that last week we threw the football a lot, and pass protection, communication is something we worked on every single day against our defense, good on good. Every period, like we had a whole period that was just 16 plays of third downs. And we just tried to rep it and give us, as many tough looks as we can get from our defense to force us to communicate at a high level from a protection standpoint. And then, hey, we got to win. We got to win on the perimeter and throw and catch. The ball's got to come out. So I think we worked on that a ton. There was some good things that we did. There's still things we need to learn from and work on. But, we tried to philosophically as a team work on third downs. Both offense, defense, we really tried as a team work on third downs to work on that communication and that execution.
What do you see from the Tennessee defense?
Fast. Fast, can rush the passer. One of the top, pass rush teams in the country. They have a couple of elite pass rushers. Really veteran group. If you look at the group of the guys, the two safeties have played a ton of snaps. They're physical in the run game. They're downhill. The linebacker number 6, man, I remember him from 2 years ago. He's a really good player. You could tell he's the communicator on the back, at the second level there of that defense. And it's just a really good defense, man. They play fast. They play well together. They're well coached, so we've got to have a great week, and we've got to come out swinging.
Liam, how do you keep everyone's emotions in check with both the rivalry of the season coming up this weekend?
Yeah, I think that.
This week, during the week, and then pre-game and during the game.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, these guys know that, we've got to win some of these too to make it a true rivalry. And it is a rivalry. We believe that in terms of our guys and all that stuff, and Tennessee being so close. But it's on us to go out there and take something and go take it. They've obviously had the upper hand, in the last couple games, and we've got to come out and prove that, we can beat these guys, that we can beat Tennessee, and that we can play to our standard. And but it's really about us at the end of the day. It's all, the competitiveness, the rivalry, that's great. But our kids are really just trying to focus on getting better. How do we take the next step and go beat a really quality opponent?
Liam, with Devin and his receivers looking for that consistent
Yeah.
connection, do you alter your play calling at all to maybe help them build a little confidence early?
Yeah, I mean, you look at it last week and, whatever, 2 weeks ago, and we kind of were running it. And then, you're trying to be conscientious of, all right, your strengths or weaknesses, but we want to improve on those weaknesses and give our kids opportunities within the game, within a drive, within a series to execute those situations and to get better. So it's not always going to be perfect, but I'm not really sitting there thinking, man, I can't throw the football. We want to throw the ball. We want to execute, but maybe it's the call. Maybe I got to give them a little bit better opportunity. It's a higher percentage completion play, something like that, as you're kind of mentioning, maybe gives them a better opportunity to execute, a play action pass or a throw. It doesn't have to be a double move out and up. It can be something higher completion percentage, give our kids a better chance.
We have a lot to talk about sign stealing in college football right now.
Yeah.
And I know you got the guys blocking the signs and stuff. How much do you all have to think about that every week? Or do you just ignore it?
I haven't ever really gotten too far into it. I've always known that it exists, especially, if you have a lot of guys, we don't have enough manpower to do that. We just don't, I'll be honest. Like, we don't have enough people to say go do that. So it doesn't really cross our minds, but you try to go look at the TV copy. You try to go look at the tape. All right, what signals have we put on tape? That, hey, they could see that we may need to alter and change. But in terms of like sending the play in, I don't worry about that too much, but it is, we've had to do that over the course of the year, but that's more so because it was on tape.
Would you like to see it go to the NFL and get the speaker and the quarterback?
Yes. I would love that. I'm not sure the quarterback would, but I would love that. I mean, I just think it's, at some point, like the hashes, a lot of these things, like we got to get on the same page and do things the same. And, it's just, it makes too much sense. Like I know it's signal based or put it on a wristband, but, I would love it. I'd love it. I know. I mean, I heard somebody a couple years ago, 2 years ago, did like a trial in a bowl game. I think it might have been 2 years ago in a bowl game. They did it and it worked out and they loved it. It was a great operation, but I think the liability issue because the players in the NFL are under a union, like they sign on for any issues. Whereas in a college game, if you put a foreign device into the Rydell helmet, something were to ever happen, I think there's some liability issues there. I think that's where it's kind of stuck right now.
Does it make it more difficult in college in this style of offense to get play calls in? Is it like an extra on the coaches and the organization? Is that why maybe it had to move slow sometimes?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, I would say that, when anytime you signal a play in, right? We signal it in. We signal a number on a wristband, and the quarterback finds that number and reads it off the wristband. So we aren't extremely wordy with our play calls and terminology. It's a little bit more probably wordy than obviously going no huddle. But I would say that that's something that would help, in terms of being able to get it in and out quicker. But we've got to play faster. We've got to get the call. He's got to be able to read that thing, get in and out. There's still playing with tempo from the huddle, and that's something that we obviously would love to improve on.
Well, yeah, Mark mentioned last night Devin being a guy to maybe see more playing time coming up. What have you seen from him? And because his familiarity with Devin helped kind of settle him down.
Yeah, I mean, Demi competes, man. He's a competitor. He tries to do everything right. He's out here. He loves football. He's a pretty smart player that we can do some different things with. So ultimately, we got to see him do some things for us. He needs to step up for us this week, and moving forward, that would be something that we're looking forward to from Demi, and look forward to seeing him go.
I feel great to be out there. Dylan, the guys, Big Blue Wall, they did a great job. I was out, especially getting Dylan those snaps, especially in-game snaps. While of course I don't never want anything to happen to me or any of the other guys, is getting in-game snaps is invaluable. So I think a lot of positive came out of it, and I think there's a lot of steps we can continue to take to move forward.
Just what were the emotions after that injury? I mean, you come back from the extra year to play left guard again to prove yourself with the first game on a play that maybe shouldn't have even happened if the penalty gets thrown the play before. You get hurt, and it looks serious there for a second.
Yeah, definitely can't think about it like that. Can be out there, the ref's call is a ref's call. You have to, just play the game. Whatever happens, happens. But, honestly, it was definitely a shocker. It's definitely not obviously how I wanted it to go. One of my goals was to play the entire season, but obviously that was cut short quite early. But that just gives me new goals to focus on, new steps to achieve, new things that I could work towards to keep being the best player for myself and for my teammates.
Being a guy that you mentioned has been around as long as anybody, what does Tennessee Week mean to you?
It means a lot. A lot of these guys don't really understand it, being around only a couple years, but I've been able to see from the fans and gain experience. I was on the last team that went out to Neyland and beat them in Tennessee. So it's getting the guys to understand that it's just not an ordinary game. This is already an exceptional team, but now this is an exceptional team that does not like us a lot. And we're a team that does not like Tennessee. That's not something it's not a crazy thing to say. I feel like we understand that it's a rivalry, and we definitely respect our opponents greatly. We both want to come in there, both want to go into Kroger Field and get a win. It's just going to be about who wants it more.
You think with your experience and things you've been through, that you can achieve more leadership role? I think that's something you're looking for as far as this team's concerned.
For sure. It was definitely harder to. It's definitely harder to be in that leadership role when you're out, because you're not around the guys as much and you're not be able to go through the fire with the guys. And one of the most important things about being a leader is the guys see you going through it every day. So when you're able to say something or doing something, they're not second guessing it. They understand that you're not just talking out of one side, So it was obviously I was doing what I could on the sides and stuff like that, but I cherish the role, being able to get back out on here on the field with the guys, being able to just reestablish that leadership role, not just in the locker room, but being able to let guys see me and see how I work, see how I operate, and continue to gain the respect from the guys from there.
How have they responded this week when some leadership's really needed?
I'm sorry?
Said how have they responded on the off week and now when some leadership's really needed?
I think they responded well. I think we as a team responded well. We had a player-led meeting. We had a player-led meeting a little while ago after the Missouri game, and we just had to sit down and just really realize what we were going through. It's very easy to say we're going to do this, and this in the season. But Coach says it, and you've probably heard Coach say it before the season even started. There's going to be times that we hit adversity. What are we going to do? My basic message when I was able to speak in the player-led meeting was I've been on teams to where we've been 10-3. I've started on teams 4-6, and I started on teams 7-5. And I think the biggest difference between those teams is our accountability. How do we respond when we get punched in the mouth? And I just believe that if we just continue to stay focused, this is still a team that can do some special things. And just the mere fact that we're 5-2 and very angry at ourselves is a testament to Coach Stoops and Coach Merrill, how far this program has come and how much our fans believe in us that we can achieve. So it's just up to us to continue to remember that as we're working, as we're grinding, because it's more than, like I said before, it's more than just the jersey on our name and stuff like that. This jersey, this logo, all this Kentucky blue, it means a lot to a lot of people in this state, and we just have to continue to hold on to that.
A bit more from the reset you guys had in the bye week last week. What was it like to get in the room with everybody?
I'll keep what was said between all us and my guys, but it was good. It was good to see the faces, and a lot of people were disappointed obviously about the loss, so that was a good thing to see. People were frustrated. They had a chip on their shoulder, and when we had that meeting, going into the meeting and coming out, you can totally see the difference in the way guys attack that practice and how we kind of attack today. So, again, for us, we're done talking. We got to go out there and let our actions stand 10 toes on that. So, we could do all the talking in the world, but what we do in that stadium will reflect on what we've been saying.
Well, you've played for 2 teams now that doesn't like Tennessee very much. You have a little extra juice this week?
No, not at all. I mean, yeah, no. Not really. I'm not going to walk into that one.
Kenneth said this is a big deal, though, and he wanted the younger players on the team to know because he's played in a lot of these games. For sure. I mean, yeah, he's played in a lot of them for sure. No, for me, it's just a regular football game. I think when you start putting too much pressure on it and you start applying that to the younger guys a lot, it becomes, people try to do too much, do more than what they need to do. And that's, again, living up to everybody's expectations. I know the whole city of Lex wants us to beat Tennessee and how much the rivalry, but we got to do what we got to do. And we got to go within our expectations and what we hold in our standards. And it's going to be a good game. They're coming in, coming off a loss, and we're coming off a loss. And it's about just going out there and whoever team, gets a W, gets a W.
Well, you're a guy who can obviously lead by example, and you have done that on the field. Are you comfortable as a first-year guy, though, being an outspoken leader?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, I had to come in and earn my respect. I didn't come in here and just assume that the position was going to be given to me. I didn't assume that just because I started, I was a guy that people were going to listen to. The position that I'm in right now, and I'm glad to be because I've earned my way here. It's week 8, and I'm happy that the guys trust me kind of deep down in this part of the season. So, it's good, it's fun, but at the end of the day, it's about just controlling what I can control and just keep being the guy that I can be.
What's it like having Kenneth back, a guy who's been around and is pretty good at what he does?
I mean, Horsey's been playing the game since 2012, so no, it's good. It's good to have a veteran that's back on the line. It's good to be able to have a guy who's been doing it for a while and he's played in big games like this and understanding how big it is to the coaching staff and just the city. But we also got to give credit to Dylan Ray. Dylan Ray stepped up and getting put in a position where he probably didn't think he was going to play that much, and he gave us about 7 weeks of just some really good ball. So I think the guys up front prepared him, and I think having Horsey back just gives him the confidence to know that he's done it, he can do it, and any moment he needs to go back in, he can get it done.
Coach Stoops has talked about how impressed he was with the things you do when you don't have the ball in your hands. Is that something you always took pride in, or did you have to learn that as you grew?
I mean, when I was young, I played quarterback, so I always had the ball in my hand, and I always had to throw it to people or hand it off. So I was like, I got to get used to this. But it's just about, again, being the best team that I can be on the field and off the field, and understanding that in order for our offense to move forward and continue to be the dominant offense it needs to be. Sometimes I may be having to block, that may be having to catch, that may have to be able to be the good team I am to cheer the guys on and keep their heads up. So, it's all a part of the football. It's all a part of football. Not one guy can lead a whole team. And, I'm glad in the position I'm in to be able to be a testament to these guys and be able to go out there and just do what I need to do.
Ray, during the bye week, you can kind of look back and look forward. Are you happy with what you've done to this point, and what do you see? What do you want to do moving forward over these last five games?
Personally, I haven't thought about nothing personally. I think as a team, I would love to continue to build success on what we have shown in the past. The Florida game, the Vandy game, and just the games even before that. You look at the Georgia and Mizzou game, there were some really good moments that we had. Unfortunately, it was some self-inflicted wounds that we kind of suffered. But as a team, again, just to continue to be who we are and controlling what we can control. And, I think, again, it's all the talking. It's eventually going to go away, and we got to go out there and play ball.